Happy New Year, besties, and welcome back to my hair. I got a new little like hot brush thing and I'm still kind of figuring out how to use it, but that's beside the point because today we are going to talk about my most anticipated reads of 2025. We're going to talk about both new releases. I think I have 5 or 6 that I'm so excited for, and we're also going to talk about books that are already out but are on my kind of radar for 2025, on my like, shall we say, unofficial TBR. Before we begin, I hope 2025 it brings all of you everything that you want and you desire, and it brings you success and happiness. And yeah, I really hope 2025 is a good one. It has positive vibes, so for you and I, it's feeling good. Now let's jump in to the books that I'm so excited to read this year. Let me just say, May is packed and stacked with new releases. I'm so excited. Heavily anticipating May. New release number 1. I feel like this one is probably my most anticipated book of this year. It is, of course, A Curse Carved in Bone by Danielle L. Jensen, releasing on the 13th of May of 2025. This book is the sequel to A Fate Inked in Blood, which I don't have facing forward. That's sad, but it's up there. That's why I looked up there. I love this book so much. It was my favorite read of 2024. Left on a cliffhanger, which so rude, but has me really excited and anticipating the next book in the series. This one, I've banged on about it so much so I don't want to go too in depth, but it's Norse mythology, follows Vikings. The magic system and like elemental system is based in myths, and it's just really cool, and I'm so excited for the next book. Next up in our new releases category is another fantasy romance. It's gonna become very apparent to you, safe to say 2025 is gonna be the year that I explore fantasy, because I feel like I graduated uni and my brain just took like a sigh of relief. It's like she said, oh, you're not consuming medical research papers 24/7 anymore. Let's try some fantasy romance. And I'm thriving. It's great. It's been great so far. I'm having the time of my life. But safe to say, there's a lot of romancy in this video. There's also, I think there's 1 romance, 2 romances, and there's also a general fiction, which is really fun. I'm kind of pushing my boundaries a little bit. New release number 2, we have Night and the Moth by Rachel Gillig, releasing on Amazon, says the 20th of May 2025. I don't know if that's locked in. I would assume so, but I'm not sure. The thing that drew me in about this book is the cover. Are you kidding me? This cover is beautiful, and then I looked a little bit closer. I dived into the author a little bit because I was like, I haven't heard of you before, and then I realized that this is the author that wrote One Dark Window and Two Twisted Crowns, I want to say it's called, which absolutely blew up. 2023, 2024 went crazy. Everyone apparently loved it. I'm undecided if I'll read it personally because it seems a little bit too heavy on the fantasy, a little bit too light on the romance for me currently, but never say never. If I love Night and the Moth, I might go back and read Rachel's backlist. Night and the Moth definitely does feel like a safe stepping stone for me into Rachel's backlist because it comes across as more of a, still a fantasy romance, but with more romance than One Dark Window. I am also a sucker for a poor gal being forced to embark on a scary quest to save her people with a hopefully hot knight. I'm always gonna eat that up, so hopefully this one lives up to that. Next up, we have our 3rd release of May. It's actually insane. We have Shield of Sparrows by Devney Perry, which is releasing on the 6th of May. Simply put, I like her small town stuff, so I'm interested what a fantasy is gonna be like from her. I'm not sure if Devney's more simplistic writing style is gonna lend itself to like deeper world building and deep character arcs, but I am eager to find out. And also a little tidbit, while I was looking up the release date of Shield of Sparrows, I saw that Devney is describing it as The Witcher meets Cinderella, which, shut the f up. Shut up right now. That sounds so good. I adore the world of The Witcher so much. It's my favorite fantasy world ever, probably. I have the books, tried reading them, probably gonna go back and try again now that I'm on my fantasy kick. Watched the show, didn't love it. Played the 3rd game. Fell in love, actually. If Devney manages to pull that off, if she manages to emulate the like monster hunter world of The Witcher, the like mystical world of The Witcher, crossed with Cinderella. Is Cinderella a fairy tale? I am devoting my entire life. I'm building a shrine. I'm selling my body to science. I don't know where I was going with that, but if Devney pulls it off, prepare to be sick of me. The next new release we're going to be talking about is Iron and Embers by Helen Shearer. I think I'm pronouncing that right. So sorry if I'm not. Coming out the 28th of January. Let me read you the first 2 paragraphs of the blurb and I guarantee that you will be sold just like I was. The little like opening quote. I've made no secret of what I want. You. It's always been you. Ren Embervale, alchemist turned assassin, finds solace in only one thing, seeking vengeance for the death of her friends. The wars of the past may be over, but her thirst for revenge is far from quenched. For years, she has been content with her poisons and potions for company, but when an unknown form of alchemy is used to attack a king of the Midrealms, Ren's time in the shadows comes to an end. She's offered a place at the Ancient Alchemy Academy of Drevenor to find a cure to the dark magic threatening the kingdoms. To win her spot, she must conquer the Gauntlet. Of course it's called the Gauntlet. A grueling series of deadly trials that could cost her sanity or her life. More is at play than sabotage from fellow competitors. Magic wielders are being targeted and Ren becomes tangled in a dangerous web of deception and bloodshed that puts the entire realm at risk. But the biggest threat of all might come from the man assigned to protect her, Torj Elderbrock, the silver-haired war hero who has hated her since she assassinated his last charge. Their shared history ignites a simmering tension that threatens to consume them both. Peace is fragile, trust is scarce, and enemies lurk around every corner. That was more than the first 2 paragraphs because the Goodreads on my phone doesn't break it up into paragraphs, but we have a mage turned assassin. We have a silver-haired war hero. Hello, Geralt of Rivia, eat your heart out. You're kidding. You're actually kidding. I'm so pumped for this book. I just want to say, if any of the men in these books give this energy, give Aragorn energy, I'm sold. I'm sad. I'm deceased. Next up, we have A Fate Forged in Fire by Hazel McBride, releasing it the 9th of January. By the time this video comes out, this book may already be out. I don't know when this is coming out. The main reason that this book made it to the list is because it's a fantasy romance. Hello, based in Celtic mythology. Now, we all know how much I love A Fate Inked in Blood. I don't need to tell you about it ever again because at this point it's drilled into your mind. That one's based in Norse mythology, so I'm really hoping that A Fate Forged in Fire can bring those same vibes but with the Celtic mythology aspect. If it manages to pull it off, that is going to be incredible. And we also have dragons, so... And my last anticipated release of 2025 that I know of, I'm sure there's more, is Sin and Redemption by Cora Riley, releasing on the 14th of January. This is Max and Sarah's book. Now, I haven't liked probably the last 5 books that Cora has released, but I'm a sucker for punishment and I have faith that Cora can bring it back to the vibes of early Born in Blood and Kimura Chronicles. I have faith, and maybe it's misplaced, but I have faith that she can bring back those vibes, and I've been really excited for Sarah and Max's story as well. I love their parents. This one I'm pretty sure is an arranged marriage in trouble, accidental pregnancy. She's like sworn to marry someone else. This is mafia romance, by the way. This is not fantasy romance. We're coming back to my roots, okay? Dark romance. Sarah is, I think, sworn to marry someone else, but something happens with Max and she gets forced into an arranged marriage with Max instead to save her like family's honor. Yeah, this one is a tentative anticipation. I'm gonna probably read it anyway, but I'm a little bit excited, just a little bit. And now we are gonna go over my tentative TBR for 2025. These are my 2025 hopefuls that have already been released, but I am yet to read them and want to. First on the list, we have Yellowface by Rebecca F. Kong. My sister bought this one for us for Christmas and she absolutely loved it, would not stop raving about it, and so naturally I'm a little bit curious. I've just heard phenomenal things about this book. It's not my typical kind of read. I tend to stick to romance and fantasy and thrillers. I don't really venture into just general fiction, but I'm still very intrigued to read it. Pretty excited to kind of expand my reading tastes just a little bit. I believe Yellowface is about plagiarism, cancel culture, and racism in the publishing industry, where our main character steals like the manuscript, the first draft of a deceased author who was like also up and coming, and she basically rebrands her entire image to become a little bit racially ambiguous to try and sell herself and sell her book to, I guess, a wider audience. Let me know if I got that right or if I got that wrong, but either way, it sounds interesting. My sister loved it. I've heard great things, so I'm excited to also read this book this year. Next up, we are leaving the general fiction for the rest of the video. We have another fantasy romance. of course, I'm looking forward to reading Quicksilver by Kelly Hart this year. I, to be perfectly honest, have fallen victim to the hype on this book. I don't know a whole lot of what it's about beyond the fact that I believe our heroine like cursed her queen potentially and ends up being flung through a portal into a different world where she finds Kingfisher, and where she comes from is a desert, where she goes to is a winter wonderland. That's all I know. But I'm excited nonetheless. I've heard it's very, very similar to ACOTAR with like the getting into this new world and trying to find your way home and like being promised help by this guy, and hopefully Kingfisher doesn't turn out to be a Tamlin. That's all I'm gonna say. But I'm intrigued to read this one. Definitely fallen victim to the hype. I'm a little bit wary, but I'm still excited. Next book we are trying to go rapid fire is Spark of the Everflame by Penn Cole. I have this one somewhere on my desk right in front of me. That's where it is. Another book that I've fallen victim to the hype for. I know a lot of booktubers have really loved this one, really raved about it. I would like to think I have more of a reason to be anticipating this one than I do Quicksilver. Quicksilver, I'm just like trying to go with the hype. This one I actually think might be really up my alley. It's supposedly a proper slow burn, like slow burn enemies to lovers, spanning 2 or 3 books, I want to say, which for the majority of romantasy that I've read so far, that is not the case. So I'm looking forward to experiencing my first, hopefully proper slow burn, if Penn Cole manages to pull off that like still interesting, still intriguing, like political intrigue, as well as giving like a deep, slow, really personal character connection and development and relationship. I'm locked in. Next up we have Daughter of My Worlds by Carissa Broadbent. She's sat up here on my shelves and she's been sat there for like since Fourth Wing came out, and I thought I was about to start my fantasy kick, but now I'm actually starting it. But Daughter of My Worlds, I'm currently reading the Crowns of Nyaxia series. I've finished A Serpent in the Wings of Night. I finished Six Scorched Roses yesterday, and I'm now reading Ashes of the Star-Cursed King. So safe to say I'm enjoying it. And I really like Carissa Broadbent's writing. It's like so easy to be immersed in. She really has a knack for storytelling, but not making it so overly complex that it's a struggle to follow. Like it was a struggle to follow last night after a few champagnes for New Year's, but when I'm sober and not a few champagnes in, it's still really fun, so easy to follow, and just like really enjoyable, but still has that like depth and political intrigue, and really love her writing. So I'm definitely very intrigued to read Daughter of My World. It follows a bit of a scorned heroine who has just recently bought her freedom out of slavery, and she's desperate to go back and rescue her best friend. But in order to do that, she has to complete this like apprenticeship with the Order, and to do that she has to enlist the help of this like grumpy fire wielding man. Sounds like a good time to me. Very excited, and hopefully she still manages to keep that really good balancing act between the romance, the magic, and the politics. Next up, sticking with Carissa Broadbent for 2 more seconds, we have, I can never remember it, Songbird of Heart and Stone. This is Misha's story. I'm not quite sure how to pronounce her name. I should look that up actually. I'm just eager to read this book because I loved her character in the earlier books that I've read. She is just an absolute ray of sunshine, and I'm also very interested to see how a little bit of a trauma that happened in the first book is going to affect her and change her in her book, her duet, I believe. Next up we have a bit of a different book for me. I'm gonna hold it up because it's right next to me. This is Tales of Norse Mythology by Helen A. Gerber. When I was doing my little research for this video, I saw Helen Shearer and I was like, but no, it's Helen A. Gerber. I don't think they're the same person. Got excited for no reason. But this one is just exactly what it sounds like. It's tales of Norse mythology. It's like retellings of their myths, and it kind of incorporates their like, I should have looked up what they were called before I started this, but they're like original tales, and then expands on them and like has little pictures, and it just sounds very cool, and I'm really excited to actually learn about it and see. I don't know, I just think learning about mythology and like being able to spout random mythology facts is so fun. So that's kind of the whole reason I want to read this book. And I also like a lot of like Norse mythology media, so hopefully this one's gonna like clue me in a little bit more. Next up we have The Crimson Moth by Kristen Ciccarelli. This one has already been published, but I think it's been picked up to be traditionally published here in Australia, so I don't think it actually comes out until midway through the year, so I might get it on Kindle or I might wait, who knows. But I heard female assassin and I said I'm all in. I'm sat, I'm ready. That's kind of the whole reason that I want to read this book. There's also obviously a lot of hype around it that definitely contributes to my interest in it, and I sort of want to go into this one a little bit blind, so I don't know a whole lot about it, but interested to read it this year anyway. Hello, I'm actually editing this video right now, but I've made a little bit of a recent development to do with the Crimson Moth. I found out a couple of days ago that it's set in like the Regency era, like a Regency romantasy with like courting and everything. So I actually managed to find a copy on Amazon of the, I think it's indie published, I'm not sure, but it's coming this afternoon. So gonna be read a little bit sooner than expected, which is really exciting. Next up, another book that I have fallen victim to the hype on it. Hello, we have Metal Slinger by Rachel Snyder. This one, it just sounds cool. So this one we have apparently like one population who has been banished to the water, and the other population still lives on land. And the whole basis of the book, the whole start of it is, I believe she's like a guard in training from the water people, goes to this like night market on the land, and she accidentally breaks like a really big peace treaty and like ruins it, stomps all over it. So I'm just interested to see how that's gonna go. I can't remember what the main male character does. Maybe he's like a guard as well, I'm not sure. It just sounds fun. It sounds like a premise that's not like done a whole lot, so I'm interested to see how it's gonna play out. And I've also heard that the side characters are very cool, and that there's like a little side character bird. I don't know if it's gonna talk or if it just like follows her around, but sounds fun to me. The next book that I'm excited to read this year is The Jasad Heir by Sarah Hashem. This one blew up on a book talk, I want to say about a year ago, and ever since then it's sort of been on my low-key TBR, low-key radar. I'm really excited to get to it. It is, I believe, an Egyptian inspired book, which, first of all, the setting, it sounds fucking sick, so I'm really excited for that one. It also apparently has a trial system. I'm a sucker for trials, like a lot of other people are, and they're deadly, and has like monstrous creatures and magic, which sounds right up my alley. I'm slowly learning that I love the trials and deadly trials in books. And we also apparently have a fantastic back and forth, will they, won't they, will they kill each other, will they kiss each other? Who knows? Now, circling back to Helen Shearer, I hope I love her writing because I have another one of her books on my TBR. We have Blood and Steel, and I'm just gonna read you the blurb because it sounds great. I believe this book is also set in the same world of the other book, the new release that she's got coming, because one of the series is called like The Ashes of Thesma, and the other one is like The Tales of Thesma. But let me read you the blurb. With her death foretold, Althea Zolitaire only has 3 years to become what she's always dreamed of being, a warrior legend. Women are forbidden to wield blades, so she has trained in secret her entire life. Now racing against the clock, she fights to secure her place in the elite guild charged with the protection of the 5 kingdoms. The sparring and hazing of the new trainees borders on deadly, but even more dangerous is her growing attraction to Wilder Hawthorne, her unwilling warrior chaperone. Wilder Hawthorne is giving like small town cowboy. All around them, schemes are afoot and darkness looms. Will Althea pass the perilous initiation test and take her place as champion of Thesma, or will the invading evil snatch away her dream before it starts? So it sounds like we're gonna have more trials, potentially gonna have like a school system, maybe. Either way, sounds great. Excited to read it. Have heard very good reviews. Second to last, we have Rain and Ruin by JD Evans. This is a Middle Eastern inspired dual point of view book with apparently hectic politics. I watched Ali Reed's TikTok about this book, and she absolutely sold me on it. She was frothing it, absolutely obsessed, so I'm really excited to read it. She made it sound incredible. She also made me realize a trope that I love, which is awkward intimacy. Like, hello, love it. It's just so endearing to the characters, and I eat it up every single time. Like, I never realized before that that's something I like in books, but I like it in books, and I'm excited to read it in this one. That factor alone definitely bumped Rain and Ruin a little bit higher on my TBR. And last but certainly not least, we have the Heartstopper series. This is another bit of a different one for me. I'd never read graphic novels before, so I'm really excited to read it. Heartstopper, I'm pretty sure if you're not familiar with it somehow, is I think like coming of age story between 2 guys at school. I think it takes place in school, and it's just about them kind of traversing their attraction for each other and sort of dealing with the challenges of high school. And to me, that sounds great. It sounds like it'll be a cute little just easy but like heartwarming, hopefully. And I also really want to watch the TV show, but to do that I'm holding myself accountable to read the books first. I've also never read graphic novels before, can't remember if I said that, so that's going to be really exciting as well. Probably gonna open a little bit of a gateway for me. I already have some like Greek mythology graphic novels kind of on my radar a little bit. I think it's called Lore of Olympus or something. Let me know if you've read it. Let me know if you've read any of these books, matter of fact. Maybe you were lucky and you got an ARC for some of the releases coming out this year. Let me know about it, just quietly. Let me know down below what some of your guys' anticipated reads are for this year, because I didn't do like a whole lot of research for this video, so there's definitely some that I'm missing and that I maybe should have stuck on the list. So let me know down below what your anticipated reads are. There's a good chance they're also mine and I just forgot about them. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy this video, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe, because I would love to have you here. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. Bye!